Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's Pio here from Thinkrinkers speaking to you from the wonderful city of Prague in the Czech Republic. To begin with, I would like to ask you, where are you coming from? Drop it in the comments below, because I'm really looking forward to see many of you today commenting and asking questions about the super exciting topic that we're discussing today, namely connecting the dots from PIM to multi-domain data architecture. How do we get there? This is a question, of course, that we'll ask to our wonderful guest of the day, Gavin Prenzing. He is the managing director for Germany of Advalence Solutions. Now, Advalence Solutions is a company that is also supporting us at our Data Management Think Club, number 9. It's our wonderful event in Prague that is going to happen just 1 week from now. That's right. For the first time, we're actually running the Data Management Think Club in our headquarters city. No better city can be than Prague for such an incredible event. And we're looking forward, of course, to meet with data management titans who will be sharing their stories, discussing trends, the future of data. They were discussing data governance, data quality, all the essential topics that we all know make companies go and make companies also ready for the future. Of course, let's see who we have here. We have Prague, of course, Natalia, who is working non-stop to make sure that everything is perfect for the next week. Also, we have India and Germany. Fantastic, fantastic. So, we also have Mane from Armenia. Perfect, perfect. Wonderful audience today with us. And I would say that we can actually move on and already invite on stage our guest of the day, Gavin Prenzing. Hi, Gavin. How are you today?
Hey, good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in the world today. Oh, good. Thanks. Thanks for having you with me.
Perfect. Perfect. It's my pleasure, of course. It's my pleasure. And of course, we'll be meeting very soon, next week, us together with other 55 data management experts. And of course, we're going to have an amazing time in Prague. But let us find out a little bit more about the topic for our virtual audience. Today, we're discussing connecting the dots from PIM to multi-domain data architecture. But before we jump into it, for those in the audience that don't know you yet, tell us something about yourself.
I'm the managing director of a company in Germany. We are we are a Swiss-based implementation and consultant company for MDM and PIM. So our core business is making value out of the data that you have today and bringing that into real life. So what we experience, and the German market is quite sophisticated, what we experience is a rapid change in the market. My personal track record is that I'm about 20 years in that industry. We are working together with some very large retailers across the DACH region, but also with some quite big companies in manufacturing FMCG goods, as well as pharmaceutical and medicine. So everything there where data and consumers in large amounts comes into complexity. That's our core business.
Very good. Very good. So basically, PIM, MDM, based on your experience, since you've been for quite some time in the market, what is the current status quo? Where are we today with MDM and PIM?
Yeah, I mean, PIM is still there and it has its value in the market. But I assume some here in the audience are coming from the one or other PIM journey. Maybe you were a key user or you guided that also like me as a consultant, or you were yourself part of the implementation project. So what we did the last, let's say, 10 years is, in a nutshell, we set up databases to make products sell better, right? So in the end, it's all about enrichment. It's about product content. It's about getting rich from all the silos that we have, the databases that are out there, and the spreadsheets that are often out there. And let's say the overall goal the last 10 years was to get rid of the silos and the data and the spreadsheets and have a centralized system for product content. And for the ones that made that very, very good, very efficient, they on top set up some governance structures, some data quality rules. They automated maybe some pieces of work, and for the rest of the manual effort, they set up workflows. But in the end, it's product content just to sell better, right? That's the goal of a PIM. It's to sell better the products that you have. Of course, it depends a bit on the industry. If we are in retail, it's always a bit about data onboarding. If we are in a manufacturer, then it's more about the markets and the consumer. But in the end, it's the same. As this is where we are today, I think PIM is mainly focused on commerce and selling. The challenge is that the market now is moving, is changing. So I think most of the people made their homework the last 10 years, but it is changing at the moment.
Okay. Tell me more about homework. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, for the ones who made their homework, they could relax theoretically and sit there and say, okay, we did everything. Maybe we improve a bit in every corner, but in the end, it is there. The challenge is, or what we experience are two things. One is the PIM systems that have been implemented in the last years. Some of them are coming into life, and we're not able to catch up on the technology changes that we experience with cloud native structures, etc. So we see that for the big blue hybrids, but also for a couple of other ones where new PIM implementation, new PIM projects are motivated by technology change. In the end, it's a technology exchange. You exchange the old PIM by the new one and improve in some things, but this is not a big step forward, right? This is just being on the same level, staying on the same level in future. The challenge that we see is that the market is completely evolving, it's completely changing. The future of PIM is not PIM, it is multi-domain, and this is a complete different ballgame. It's a complete game changer.
Okay. And do you think that organizations are ready for this shift, let's say, this moving forward into the future?
It depends. It depends a bit on the industry. It depends on the mindset. We see different, let's say, driving forces about that change. One is what is obvious is the technology. I mean, 5 years back, 10 years back, we installed things on-prem, and this is the old world, right? We don't have to spend too much time on this one because this is history. But new world does not mean we put the old software into a cloud. I mean, this is just another data center where this is running. So what we experience is technology today. What is coming up? Everything what has been done in PIM in the past is potentially automated in future by algorithms or KI. So the machine learning aspect, we are not there yet, but it is coming up. And the machine learning aspect for the future means we have automatic text generation, we have automatic translations, we have auto classification services, we have even golden record matching on addresses, on articles, even on creditors and debitors in the financial. So what I want to say is PIM is not just PIM anymore. PIM is completely moving to next, or maybe we skip 1 or 2 levels to an upper level. And it's not only PIM. It is more aspects are coming around. So the technology change about machine learning is a major one, and this is just coming at this time. I think if we have these sessions in 1 or 2 years later, we have real use cases in place that are, PIM vendors are working on that. And with these cloud native technologies today, software vendors are rolling out new releases every week. If we talk about the old on-prem world, we were talking about major releases in a year, right? Updates and customizing were a big pain. And today it's just there. It is just like electricity. You consume it, and this is in the end it's accelerating. The complete market is enormously accelerating. So I think key factor is flexibility and scalability. And in the end, as long as we accelerate, it's good because we can focus more on the use cases and not on the technology. The technology is our vehicle. But if the technology is getting more out of the box, more plug and play, it's good. We can focus more on the use cases and evolve. So this is one driving force, but I think there are other ones.
Okay. Very good. No, I agree with you 100% that the speed of innovation and the speed of evolution of machine learning and AI at the moment is really something surprising. And at the same time, I would say that organizations are not really ready for it. There are organizations that take, that are thinking a lot before starting a new project. There are organizations that have tried MDM before, and they perceived it as a long, complex project. So, do you think that organizations are ready to embark in this newer, faster way of adopting technologies and progressing with them?
I think some. It's here in our client landscape. Some are really on the top, and you see that they are actively discussing these topics with us. But on the other hand, as always, it's not black and white. But the other ones, they don't even think about it, right? So they don't have it. They do some have it not on the radar that what is coming up. Let's take what the EU. I know some here are not from the EU, but we are in the EU. We are always a bit special when it comes about regulatories. So we thought about it would be a good idea to bring something out, what is called digital product passport, what is part of the ECG, the environmental social responsibility, and this is coming up now. And when I talk to customers, what I mentioned is some know that this is coming and they are thinking about it, what they can do, what they have to do from a legal perspective. And some, to answer your question, they are not aware of it. They're not aware that this is coming. And I give you an example. It's a funny story because I had a DPP webinar some weeks ago together with a software vendor. And it was funny because just one day before we had that webinar, the EU launched a new law or regulatory, as they always do. And I have to look on my paperwork. So they decided that now for honeypots. So if you go to a grocery store, or supermarket, and you buy honey. A honeypot now has to list the origin of the country of the bees. So it's quite interesting. A bee swarm has about 1,500. I googled it. 1,500 to 30,000 bees. I assume they count the queen more, the queen of the bees, because this is the primary they have to focus on. Not every bee is now tracked. But we have to. The supermarket the store that is selling now a honeypot in the EU has to take care about that on the pot it is listed where this swarm is coming from which country. And this is the direction. I think it's a quite funny example, but in the end, this is the direction that this is going, right? This gives a feeling about on which level of granularity we are now moving.
Yeah.
And the tricky thing about the digital passport is that not the manufacturer is responsible for what is listed there. The company that is selling it is responsible. So it's a big change. Just as footnote, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a tech guy. For many years in the marketing and sales e-commerce industry, but not a lawyer. So this is no lawyer consultancy. Ask someone else. But we actively observing what is going on there, because in the end we got requests about that, and the question is, what does that mean for PIM? And my answer is quite, but I come to that later today maybe. PIM is not able to manage it, because it is not just an additional attribute where we now have a list of countries. It's much too easy. Another example about that is 99% of what we buy in the EU is wasted again within 6 months. 99%. So this is 2 billion tons of waste. And what is coming now is that we have to calculate on packaging, on the artifacts of a packaging. So if you take a pizza, you have a carton, you have plastic in it, folio, etc. You have to calculate all this stuff. You have to calculate that. How is your recycling rate on that? How do you want to manage it in PIM with focus on sales and e-commerce? It is not made for that, right? And it's not there. So are companies prepared for it? I think some have the right tools and they are starting, and some stick in the PIM world that we had the last 10 years, and then it gets challenging.
Yeah, I mean, these new regulations are indeed quite complex. And I think, you've probably seen this too over the last decade, that many new regulations, not just, ESG or DPP, many new regulations highlighted the importance of good data management, of good MDM. So I think that, if it's not these regulations, it's the next that will kind of push companies to look at their data management more seriously. What do you think about that?
Absolutely agree to that. And I personally think we have challenges in two directions. On the one hand, we have the challenge of the horizontal line. So that means the digital chain from, let's say, a manufacturer to suppliers to a retailer to the consumer. So the entire chain. This horizontal line is getting more complex because we get much more data that is going across that. And the truth is, some are working with some data pools, and they are still working with a lot of spreadsheets. This is a reality at many retailers. This is one thing. The other thing is the vertical line. We are opening complete new domains. So the pizza example is a good one because we are talking about packaging. PIM normally has no packaging information. Maybe it has a weight, and a size and a height and some basic information. But a complete packaging structure where I can calculate that in an inherited model is not part of that. So this is also a challenge to systems and tools at that point. So this vertical structure, the data will get much more complex, and we will touch complete new domains. So, for instance, ingredients. You can take ingredients for the pizza itself, but also in let's say in the chemical industry. It's also in the end, or in the pharma industry, you have ingredients or similar terms that gives you that summarizes up and manage the let's say the pieces of the product, right?
Yeah.
And to provide the DPP on demand, you need that.
Yeah. Well, what can we do? Considering this complexity and considering that not many companies are ready for this, what is needed? What can companies do to be ready for this constant evolution and changes in this sphere?
Before we come to that, I think there's another change going on. I will answer to your question in a minute, but
yeah,
in parallel to that technology world and these master data world with ESG and DPP, there's a complete new stream in marketing commerce. And PIM, if you remember, PIM is coming with focus on marketing, focus on commerce. I studied marketing many years ago, and I remember there was a principle about 5 Ps. The 5 Ps of the right product to the right person at the right place to the right time. What is not a P? I don't know. To the right price, and I think this principle today is more true than ever. Why? Because the consumer is more and more digital. This is nothing new. Right? Everyone here knows that. We are shopping online. We are going to the store and compare it with Amazon or whatever. So, but the thing is, this is done. When we talked about 5 years ago or 10 years ago, we talked about, oh, this is a change that is coming. The consumer is getting more digital, etc. It is there. Yeah, the consumer is digital. And also the line between a B2B customer and a consumer is blurring because of digital, because we are using the same profiles online and we are chatting and we have teams and we are so digital in our business world as well as in our private consumer world. So this is a big chance for marketers. Marketers always wanted to understand that they wanted always had the goal to know to sell who and find the right arguments. Now they are able because, of course, opt-in, is the assumption is you get an opt-in, etc. That's all clear. But the marketers are now in the situation that they can contextualize their offering.
Yeah.
That means if I go to a grocery store, if I go to a supermarket, it is not just that I get a price. Today, more and more, the price tags in these stores are digital. Initially introduced to update them much faster because of raw materials, prices, etc. But in future, this can adapt to date and time when I'm in the store. It can adapt to the weather. It can adapt to the frequency in the store, how many products are still in stock or not, or even further, to me as a person.
Yeah.
And this is bringing the commerce part, again, and this is initially PIM, to a complete new level. But what do I need for that? I need not, what I don't need is a product with a nice description and some attributes that I push to the store. What I need is the product in different views, looking on it from different angles, from the weather perspective, from the buyer persona perspective, maybe from a regional perspective, So the product is not just the product anymore. The product is getting artifacts. It is shining it in a different light depending on the context that I put on it. This is what the next level of PIM is for commerce, the contextualization of the offering in real time, of course, because you cannot wait. This must be automated completely. And I think this is another big change that is not there yet, but marketing is always at the front of changes. They see the opportunities in that, so this will come. It is just a question of time. And coming back to your question, are companies prepared for that, and what do they have to do? I think the first thing is, I named now 3 things: technology change, the master data, ESG and DPV change, and the marketing and sales change with the contextualization. And I think there are some more. Change your mindset is the first thing that I would recommend. Change the mindset that the world of ERP system, PIM, and channel is the future. This is legacy. The chain of ERP system, PIM, channel is legacy. In future, you need your domains, depend on your business model, depend on your industry, of course, but you need to manage your domains, and you have to think about the domains not from a data table perspective. Think about the domains in a network. Everything is connected, and you need to get it on request in real time.
Tough to do when you're dealing with silos, isn't it?
Yeah, the problem is, if companies are not prepared for that from a technology perspective, and they were able to make their homework to get rid of the silos and the spreadsheets, now new silos and spreadsheets are coming up for the ingredients, for the stores, etc.
Yeah.
So the story starts again, but on another level. It's just another level, but the story is the same. And what we are seeing, and we have more and more requests there also from large retailers, that they're saying, hey, we have to manage this additional content now somewhere. But our current workflow of ERP, PIM, and whatever is not able to manage it. It is completely different data structure. We cannot put it in there. So now you have 2 options. You start a lot of customizings, and by the next use case, you do a lot of more customizings and a lot of more customizings, or you rethink your complete data approach.
Yeah. And who do you think should, because you highlighted something very important, a change in the mindset, right? It's there that really we need to start rethinking the way we manage data, we think about domains, and so on. Who do you think should champion this change of mindset in the organization?
So the ownership is somewhere about sales and sales, marketing, and CIO. It's somewhere in that area. In my opinion, you need a data governance, data management, master data management organization that takes the responsibility for that. But what is important is that, in my opinion, this is not a fixed state we now want to achieve. I'm not sitting here to say, oh, you are now on level 5, and now you have to go to level 6 on your data architecture. This is not the case. We are moving into a new century, and it's a journey. So in the end, it is not that you now have to go on the next level and have a new tool and so on. It is that you have this mindset the people, the organization, absolutely right. But on the other hand, you need to focus on what is important. And important is flexibility, scalability, and connectivity. These are the three major points a data organization needs: flexibility, scalability, and connectivity. And yet now you can think about, how is your structure, your architecture today? Is it scalable? Is it flexible? Is it easily to connect? If yes, then it's good. Okay. But I don't think so. Often it's not the case.
How do you assess that?
We have 5 areas we have to look on. First is, in future we have to significantly more data. We have to understand that the amount of data an organization has today is nothing against that what is coming up in the next 5 or 10 years. The second is, the data structures, the domains, are today managed somewhere, some in ERP, but they are not connected. They're connected via interfaces, static interfaces today. So the complexity of the data structures and the connectivity of the domains is a second piece we look in. We analyze it. This is how we support it. And if we have a look on the silos and the data set, we can have the horizontal line and see, okay, this was your organization, but where's the data coming from? Where is the supplier? Where is the manufacturer? What systems do they use? What challenge? Where are they in their journey? So we can build initiatives on the supply chain, not just for the organization or the company we are talking to. We can create initiatives for an industry, or let's say at least for the relationship between the business relationship between companies, and often we see synergies there. In the pharma and medical, we see that clearly. And last but not least, we need to double check how ready is the structure for the regulatory changes that are coming up, because in the end, everything what I said is nice, but you have to argue that also internally. You have to sell that story internally. To sell a story internally, if you have a pressure because of new regulatory, is an easy one, right?
Yes.
If it comes to, oh, we are changing and we have to adapt, etc. So this story is much easier to sell internally. So this is why I think this is also a hot topic we looking at. How we support that? We analyze the current status and we bring in the expertise by our clients, because I mean, we work with clients on these topics, and just by this we are evolving in our experience. This is how consultancy works. It's not just that we go to university and now we can talk about DPP and architecture, multi-domain architecture. Is that what we are doing is the experience we receive, our clients give us, by the mandates we receive.
Good. I agree with what you said about regulations. They make quite the compelling argument, right? So, but you also need to sell them right? Because I'm thinking right now about regulations like the GDPR. In the beginning, there was panic, and then organizations initially looked at it as something that had a beginning and an end, So, am I GDPR compliant? Yes, tick, done. Initially, it was looked at this way. Well, first of all, we figured out that no, actually, you need to stay compliant. So it's a long-term investment. But secondly, it's important that when selling the the data management initiative or the PIM initiative based on a regulation, we make the organization understand, okay, this is one change, this is one regulations. There's going to be more. So we want to have a long-term view of this. What do you think about that?
I agree in parts. I think we can compare that story, but there's a major difference between the GDPR and what is coming now with the DPV. The GDPR is the regulatory says how we have to deal with the data that we have. A company has already that data.
Yeah.
How do we deal with that data? The DPB says you have to provide data that you don't have today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a different story, right? And so from the life cycle and how it is introduced and how people react on it, I think it's comparable. But when we come to what are the challenges behind it, I think it's a different ballgame.
So companies are gonna need to have a QBP, Queen Bee passport, yeah, in order to certify the honey.
We don't have a product for that yet, a consultancy product, but maybe, we can think about it.
Yeah. Oh, indeed. It's true. It's a completely different story. But again, every new regulation really highlights the importance and the focus on data, and the fact that organizations need to take it seriously. Well, Gavin, it's been a pleasure, and of course, this is just the beginning of many of our a longer discussion that we're going to have next week in Prague. Now, just to give sort of a sneak peek to our audience, what are you going to talk about in Prague?
We talk about these topics and a lot more. I mean, we have, as I said, we are in multiple industries. We are in retail, but we are also in manufacturing. We have also some very nice brands counting to our customers. So you can expect some practices really out of true use cases that are coming from the real world. This was very high level today, but I think it will be a bit more hands-on next week. Looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely. It will be very interesting to hear what our audience is doing as well with the, with the DPP and the ESG, how they're adapting, and also what they're doing with all the, let's say, with the premises that you've mentioned, right? The speeding up of the technology and so on. So I'm sure we're going to have 2 amazing days where we will compare, benchmark practices, and go together, really, by collaborating. So last thing, let's say not everyone who is watching right now will be in Prague next week. So if they want to know, if anyone wants to connect with you, know more about you and Advalence, what's the best way to do so?
I'm open to connect on LinkedIn. Just ping me. That's the easiest way. But of course, you can also visit our website or send me an email. But LinkedIn, I think, is I'm always on.
Very good. Very good. Well, Gavin, I had a pleasure. I look forward to you for us to meet next week. Any last message that you would like to share with our audience for today?
It's all about mind change. It's all about mind change.
Perfect way to close.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I wish all in the audience a wonderful continuation of your day. Until next time.